well. What a terrific race this is.
Huntington with the miss. Rafik scored goal!
This is their house. This is their stage. It's the stage they have dominated in recent years.
It was written in the stars!
This is the Commentators Podcast. My name is Ricardo Chambers.
And he's hanging alongside a 50% vaccinated Donald Oliver.
We're not talking about your vaccination, at least not yet. Today we're chatting with the newest West Indies Test sensation.
Ooh.
That feels good to say, actually.
Yeah, it really does, actually.
Newest West Indies Test sensation. We don't get to say that too often.
Yeah, Ricardo, you're right. We really don't. He is a 28-year-old Bajan left-handed batsman and right-arm medium-fast bowler. He broke a bunch of records in Bangladesh recently on Test debut and followed up with more encouraging performances in the just concluded home series against Sri Lanka.
He's averaging 66 with the bat after 4 tests. And has also taken a few wickets at 21.75, 4 wickets to be exact. And I saw him getting the ball to nip around on that dead track in Antigua in the 2-test series. Actually looked like one of the more dangerous bowlers. I think you know who we're talking about by now, though. No other than Kyle Mayers. But before we have a chat with Kyle, Donald, your thoughts on this young man, because he is coming to the game at the West Indies level and he's pretty much taken it by storm.
He has. And I tell you what, I've been really impressed with him. I've been impressed with his maturity. I've been impressed with his mindset as well. And I'm like wondering, where has he been all this time? I know that he had to leave Barbados, because we're not recognized in our hometown, are we? And then he had to move to another franchise for him to get the game time to elevate his profile. I think that's one of the best things about the franchise cricket, which has developed over the years, where nationalities, we don't look at nationalities anymore, but cricketers can transcend their own territory. And I tell you what, it's been a real blessing to see that he has come out on top and he's making a name for himself at the international level.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I'm sure he will answer a few of those questions in terms of where he was. So I'll give you a quick story. So, of course, I would have seen him in the T20s against New Zealand, but I really took notice in that first innings of the first test against Bangladesh. Of course, his debut test.
Oh, the first
40.
Test. Okay,
yeah.
Right.
So when he came out to bat at the start of that 200, no, I rarely ever do this. So I was watching, really enjoying his knock. And I tell you what stood out to me, because it's something I've been saying with a lot of the West Indies batsmen in recent times, that they have become too cagey in Test cricket, a lot of them. Yes, we want you to bat long. It's important that you bat long, but there has to be an assurance when you're playing. So if you're defending, you need to be defending positively and confidently. If you're attacking, you need to be doing the same. You cannot be in two minds. And when I saw him, that was the first thing that stuck out to me. The positiveness in which he was playing, whether he was defending or attacking, he was assured as to exactly what he wanted to do. And I had not seen that from many of the West Indies top order batsmen for a while. Before you come in, so you know what I did? I went on my WhatsApp status and I said, this kid, Kyle Mayers, can really bat. And then I went to tennis the same day and I was having a chat with some of my tennis buddies and I was telling them about Kyle Mayers. And they said that we've never heard of him before. Anyhow, that was Friday. Saturday, we all woke up to him. Well, I watched all of it, but my tennis friends woke up to him making 210 not out. And they said, Ricardo Chambers, you're the greatest. Nobody knows cricket more than you. Oh, and by the way, I've been telling them about Rakeem Cornwall for a long time, and he had a great one as well.
I'm sorry.
I was a star.
No, I'm getting nauseous. But, I look at Kyle Mayers and I'm saying that this is who I thought Karen Pollard would have been in the Test arena, because I actually rated Pollard so highly that I thought that he could have played in all three formats of the game. Yeah.
Oh,
Karen
sorry.
Pollard.
I thought you said Powell for a second there.
No,
My bad.
Karen Pollard.
Yeah.
Because that's how highly I rate him. But of course, with the advent of T20 cricket, he would have spent most of his time in T20 leagues across the world. And you know, fine. I don't hold that against him. Yeah. But the attitude that I would have seen in Pollard is the same thing I thought I've seen in Kyle. Because he's audacious and he has a technique to back it up, and he's going to score runs, and he has been scoring runs.
Yeah, he certainly has been scoring runs. Anyhow, nobody really wants to hear from you, Donald.
That's true.
And that's the reason why we have Kyle Mayers on the Commentators Podcast from Barbados. Kyle, welcome to the Commentators Podcast. First of all, before we even talk any cricket, what's the situation like in your home country?
It's not the best, to be honest. You know, the ash from the volcano is falling straight across Barbados, and it's very heavy. It's very dark at the moment. Seems like night for the last few days, but they're stuck inside. Best place to be at the moment, and enjoying time home with my family.
What's the reaction from citizens there in terms of having to stay home, because it's almost as if it's an extended arm for what we've been used to the past year in being inside and staying at home and, of course, wearing masks, right?
Well, of course, it's something different, you know. Nothing like this happens like this, you know. Years ago it happened. I heard my grandmother spoke about it in her time. And then, obviously, this time, it's very bad. So people are more concerned about their health. People are trying to stay on as much as possible. When you go on social media, you see people on live. So it's about like when COVID first started, you know, people are taking it serious. It's hard to drive on the road. It's hard to see. So people are staying indoors and trying their best to stay safe.
Yeah, that's great to hear, and we hope that you stay safe as well and your family stays safe as well. Let's talk some cricket now, shall we, Kyle? Because you've been somewhat of a sensation lately. First of all, how have you been handling all the attention? You go to Bangladesh, you score 210 on debut. Of course, everybody's talking about Kyle Mayers. You come back to the Caribbean and you have another solid series against Sri Lanka, and so much focus and attention on you. How have you been handling that?
Well, to be honest, I was just trying to stay as humble as possible. Obviously, I know that coming from Bangladesh and performing so well, that the whole series is going to be just as important, you know, to follow my 200. And I always pray myself to better my performance. Obviously, scoring 200 in the first game would have been very hard to better. But I always pray myself to be as consistent as possible. Let people see that you are not a one-hit wonder, or you just don't score runs sometimes. Let's try to be as consistent as possible. But the support has been great. You know, family, friends, people that I never met before have been messaging me and whatnot. So that's been great. But I just trying to stay as humble as possible. And try to learn as much as possible as I move on in Test cricket.
Kyle, when you got the call up to be a part of the touring squad, who called you? What was said to you? And would that have inspired even more belief? What was your mindset at the time? I actually just returned home from a tour, and I was watching some cricket in Barbados. It was trials. They were preparing for the Super 50. And I had gotten a call early in the week from chairman selectors that I was selected for the ODI squad. And then the guys were just talking about the tour to Bangladesh and how some guys may not go and what's not. And I was saying, you know what, I would love to get a call note, you know, to go to play this Test cricket. You know, it's something I wanted to do from the time I was young. And just later on in the afternoon, the chairman selectors called me again, and he said, well, I called you early and they mentioned that you were selected for the ODI squad, but now you're selected for the Test squad. And it was a great feeling, you know. I actually wanted the opportunity thanks to England. Prior to England, I had my best first last season, so I felt really well. Been batting good for over a year now. Been scoring runs consistently, and I just wanted the opportunity, and I knew it would happen at some point.
You know, there are so many questions I want to ask you, Kyle. I mean, your story is just so intriguing to me. But since you brought up the England situation, so you're in England, right? And of course, you're also part of the reserves in New Zealand. Let's kind of combine those two tours in asking this question. Now, there were several batsmen who probably weren't performing well, and a lot of critics across the Caribbean saying that this person needed to be dropped, that person needed to be dropped, whatever. And you're on the sidelines. What was your mindset like? Were you any at all disappointed having come off that averaging 50 plus in regional cricket and feeling confident and not getting into the setup?
Well, when the team for England was selected, and it was called a reserve, I was disappointed because I thought the season I had would have earned me a spot in the test team, but it never happened. I went to England, got to be around test cricket, got to learn fast from some of the guys who played a lot of test cricket, even from the coaching staff. I learned a lot from the tour to England, so then it moved on to New Zealand. At that time, I was just focused on trying to be a better cricketer, try to continue my good work, try to score runs. But it never worked out. In the longer format in New Zealand, I didn't get any runs, but I never was disappointed, or I never was deterred to continue the good work. And I came home, and I got the call, and from there, everything just kept on.
Yeah, were the selectors and the coaches speaking to you during this period, telling you what you needed to do to make that leap into the test squad or into the ODI squad?
No, not really. Haven't been in communication with selectors like that. Only when I get the call saying I'm selected. But been speaking to the coaches from England, and they were telling me what you need to do. You need to bowl more overs, whether it bat earlier, bat more balls. Those general stuff. But in terms of being specific to say like what you need to do to get anything, just become a better player.
Yeah.
Kyle, I'm wondering here as to why your name wasn't at the forefront in Barbados. In your opinion, what was the case with that?
Not too sure. I came into Barbados cricket representing CCC first. I played for CCC in my first Super 50, which was my first staff outing. And then after the World Cup, I played a few more one-day games. I actually thought that, to be honest, I thought that Barbados had me more to play with ball cricket than anything else. So I was more branded to play with ball, and I ended up playing T20 and 50 over only. And then I got the opportunity to play my first class game for Windwards Islands after being drafted.
Yeah, so as I said, there are so many questions I have to ask you, and every time you speak, there's another one that comes up. So let's deal with you going to the Windwards first of all. What was that experience like?
It was a wonderful experience, It was tough, but it was great in the end, To go away and be a professional cricketer is always something I would advise a youngster to do, It's tough, but learning takes place, different environments, you're around different people, you learn different cultures, and just the feeling alone, knowing that, you're on your own here in a sense where you have to come and prove to these guys that you can play cricket. It's not just you walking up and you just being selected or whatever the case may be. You're on trials, like any other thing. So it was good. It brought up some character. Obviously, everything that happened in Windwards was not ideal for me, but as I said, you learn from everything. You learn from mistakes. You learn from success. So I thought that Windwards Islands helped me tremendously on my cricket. Helped me to build into the person I am today.
Yeah. So you go to the Windward Islands, and then you leave. Why did you leave?
It was an unfortunate situation. I had just started the Super 50 for Windward Islands. I can't remember that year. I think it was 2017 or 2018. We were playing in Trinidad, and I played the first two games. Started well, got man of the match in the first game, didn't get a chance to do much in the second game. And then the third game, I got an injury during the warm-up against Guyana. I broke my ankle. From there, I was out of cricket for like eight months or so. During that time, obviously, after the Super 50, there was 4-day cricket and missed that. And then when it was time for the draft, for the 4-day cricket again, Windwards Islands put me in the draft and didn't protect me in the 10. So then other teams had opportunity to get me in the squad. Barbados did that. After becoming available after like 4 years, they decided to put me in their 10 and protected me. So in that case, I guess because of the injury, I don't know if Windwards Islands thought that I would have come back after the injury, but then I came home. I was selected for Barbados.
What was that 8-month period like for you in terms of the rehabilitation, in terms of the stress that you would have been under both mentally and physically?
It was very tough. I mean, it was one of the lowest times in my cricket career, in my life, actually. Being out of the game for so long, obviously wanted to play. At the time I was injured, I was now feeling the best I could feel in terms of fitness, in terms of batting and bowling. So for me, it was tough. It was one thing after the next. I mean, prior to that, I lost my selection in the 18, and that encouraged me to go out and try to become a better player. And as I said before, at that time when I got injured, I felt like I was there, about to be there. So that in itself was very hard to take on. And then physically, obviously, broken ankle is very tough with weight bearing and stuff. Being able to walk again and run again was very difficult. But thanks to the physiotherapist, Miss Jackie King, she and Mr. Tarn, the surgeon, brought me back in the game as fast as they could. So kudos to them. But it was real tough. You know, watching cricket, wanting to play, not able to walk. I mean, being on crutches alone was difficult. You know, I didn't even want outside help from people sometimes. I mean, it may seem rude, but it was real tough for me mentally. And I just want to thank people who was there for me and tried their best to keep me cool because being able to cricket, it really took a toll on me.
Yeah, this may sound like a weird question, but I'm actually building up to something here. Have you always believed in yourself? Have you always believed that you could be as good as you have shown in the 4 test matches so far and even better?
Of course. From the time I knew myself, I always believed that I could do good things, you know. I never dropped the mindset. I always stayed positive from the time I was young till now. People may say, man, you can't do this or you can't do that, but in my head, you know what, I could do it. And I always believed that and carried that mindset. And I guess that's why I got through some of the toughest times, you know, especially back then with the ankle. I believe that after the ankle injury, I would have represented West Indies. If you had to speak to any of my close friends, they would tell you that. You know, they brought back up the conversation after the double century in Bangladesh. A few of them when they say, you know what, I remember you told me when you get back in cricket, you're going straight to the top and you're going to play test cricket. You know, so I always carry that mentality. I always believed that I could do well. And just carry that mindset and it works.
Yeah. I have to ask you this one then, because I must be honest with you. So when I saw you, really took notice of you back for the first time, and then I checked your age, I couldn't believe that you were 28 years old. Because I couldn't believe that a talent this good, that as far as I'm concerned, I spotted in like 5 minutes, would have taken so long to come through the West Indies system, especially a system that, let's be honest, has been losing. What would you say was the biggest deterrent or deterrence between, let's say, age 21 and 28 when you've made that breakthrough?
To be honest, it boils down to opportunity. And numbers will show. To be honest, I started out playing first class cricket more as a bowler all-rounder for the Windwards Islands. I guess they saw me to fit that role, obviously coming in to first class team young, haven't played. Just looking at anything possible, you know, and trying to make the best of it. So I started out as a bowling all-rounder. And then after the injury, obviously, people thought I could have bat when it was a bowling all-rounder, showing some promise at the back of the innings or whatever the case may be. But after the injury, taking batting more serious and being given the opportunity to bat early made a huge difference. So people saw me now as a batting all-rounder more than a bowling all-rounder, and that made a big difference.
Is that how you always saw yourself?
Of course, coming right through the ranks on the 13th to on the 19th, I was a batting all-rounder. It's just fit in certain teams. Obviously, you're not in control of how the team is set up or however the case may be. You just have to go and perform the role that you're given. So I ain't made that way. That is what it was for me at the Windwards Islands. I used to ask for opportunities, obviously, to bat earlier, but obviously just not in control of that. But I think everything has a way to work itself out, and the opportunity that Barbados created for me, you know, made a massive difference.
Kyle, do you consider yourself to be a student of the game?
Of course. I learn every time, you know. Each innings I learn something new. And I'm not shy at all to speak to the coaches or speak especially to the batting coach who have been helping me really, really well thus far.
That's Coach Desai.
Yeah, very nice guy. Knows how to communicate, relate, you know, and I could work with that. And he's a guy that you can contact anytime. Up to this morning, I got a message from him, you know. A very nice person. So I try to be a student again as much as possible. I try to learn as fast as possible, you know. People might think that just watching cricket is easy, but there's so many different factors that you have to take in place, and so many different things you learn each day that you tell yourself you play cricket your whole life and you never really took it on, you know. So being a student in the game is very important, very, very important, because it varies from opposition, conditions, everything. So it's very difficult. So being a student is very important, and I pride myself to be one.
What do you think the team or the squad presently is getting right, in your opinion? I mean, I know that you've just come into the setup, but based on what you're seeing behind the scenes and the coaching setup, and you compared with when you're in other dressing rooms, and even though other international teams or teams play, what do you think that the current setup is getting right, in your opinion?
I think attitude, for one. I think the attitude is superb. I mean, I've been with teams that attitude was not even close, like these guys. I think the belief within the side to do well is very strong. And living as a family, too, as well, is making a serious difference. I mean, each and every one believe in themselves and believe in the team. And other teams are already get that. And it's not one person or two people, it's everybody on the same page. And I think that's key with this side.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about approach, shall we? Because us in the West Indies, we've always liked the dashing batsman. So I guess you can go back to the great West Indies days and you can come through the likes of Greenwich and Haynes and down to a Brian Lara and whatever. That aggressive, Viv Richards, Clive Lloyd, the aggressors, the dashers, the Caribbean people love that sort of batting. How would you define your approach to batting generally?
To be honest, I think it's pretty simple. I just try to attack first. You know, a lot of people tend to defend and wait and see. My thing is try to put pressure on the bowler the same way how bowlers try to put pressure on you. You understand? So my game plan is simple. I stay as compact as possible, and each opportunity I get that I can score, I take it. Sometimes it may not come off, but I carry that mindset right through. So any ball that I believe that I can score, I love to score. So that puts pressure back on the bowler, which makes it much easier for me. It limits the percentage that a good ball may come, because a bowler don't feel comfortable knowing that when they miss the length, they can go to the boundary, and that's the start pressure, and that's the start intent I bring in my batting. So I would say aggressive, but still a mix of being smart, because at the end of the day, you must know your game, you must know where you're strong and what you're capable of doing, and as I say more, I learn more about myself, and that's very important.
That's exactly the response that I guess has made Kyle Mayers my new favorite West Indies batsman. The follow-up to that, though, is that type of approach readily encouraged in the setup in the time that you've been there?
Of course. I never changed my style. As you see me come from first class to now, and the guys really love it, you know. They say they can't stop watching me play. Some of the coaches, they beg for me to stay out there longer, you know, and that's going to work. That's in my plan, you know, to try to bat more balls, because, you know, if I bat more balls, the team would be in better positions. I would score more runs, because I score so fast and freely. It makes it easier for everybody, especially the batsman who's batting with me. So it's definitely encouraged, especially from the captain. You know, he's the first person that called me when I made my first. Well, when I played my first game for Barbados Pride in the first last season before Bob Bull, Craig Bradford, he called me and he said, you know what, Kyle, I want you to be yourself. I want you to just play your natural game. I don't want you to think about nothing else. And if, as a leader, you hear that from your captain, you know, it gives you a lot of confidence and encouragement. So from there to know.
But hold on a second, Kyle. I'm trying to wrap my mind around the answer that you're giving, and as a fan looking on,
you're just a fan now?
Yeah, I'm just a fan now.
Okay.
If I see a batsman with a particular approach, right, and then he goes into a rut, you know, and probably after consecutive innings, he goes for a low score because he had this attacking mindset. Aren't you wary of that? Because after a while, your teammates may lose confidence in you and possibly you in yourself, right?
To be honest, I won't say lose confidence in myself. I mean, it's something that can happen and something always will be back in my mind, but it's not to really think negative, you know. I always, as you said, I'm a very positive person. I don't really think about negative stuff. Even when I'm batting, thinking about getting out and those kind of things don't even come close to my head. Yes, my style of play, it could bring low scores at times, but as I said before, I try to be selective. I try to be smart, but still aggressive. So I try to balance the both so that it won't happen. And in any case, being aggressive or being defensive, a batsman normally goes into a rut at something. Yeah. It's just for him not to get confused mentally and block himself off. And I think that's what cricketers do a lot. After 2 scores, they think that, you know what, they are no form. And I don't believe in form. I believe in preparation. I believe that if I prepare well, I will do well. So it's a case where I could score 150 in one game, and then I go into the other game and I don't prepare well, and I don't score a run. So that's how I see it. And there's something mentally to get over.
He is good and he is smart. You're listening to Kyle Mayers. I did say he's the newest West Indies Test sensation. Let's talk a little bit about formats now, Kyle. You spoke about Barbados initially seeing you as a white ball player, going to the Windwards. And in a way, I guess they probably saw you as a white ball player as well, doing some bowling and coming at the back end of the innings and probably hitting the ball away, which you can clearly do very well. You've played 4 tests, 3 ODIs, 2 T20s. Do you think you are fully capable of playing all formats of this game at the highest level and doing so simultaneously as well?
Well, of course, I believe that my style of play goes for all 3 formats. It's simple. As the coach spoke to me, he said, you know, as you play test, the percentage of shots that you have will be lower compared to the rest. So we start with T20. In T20, I will play all of my shots. In 50 over, probably will play 50%. And then in Test cricket, probably 30. You know, that's numbers. So it's just a matter of knowing when and where and reading situation. I think I did enough to play any situation, and if you're playing Test cricket, I think you can play any cricket.
Talk to me a little bit about the dressing room and what's going on there. Of course, there's been a transition from one skipper to the next, Jason Holder to Craig Brathwaite. And I find that Jason Holder has been a lot more vocal, much to my amusement, actually, and entertainment. I actually like him like this. But what's it like in the dressing room now, even with that transition?
It's been the same. Obviously, Craig captained me in Bangladesh, so I never was under Jason. Not even for Barbados, I think. Even when Jason came back, Craig still captained the side. But
Right.
the dressing room never changed. I mean, Jason brought a different personality to the dressing room than in Bangladesh, and it's been working out nicely, especially the hard times in the field. Jason been behind the guys, wanting us and pushing us to do well. And I think him being skipper stopped that for a few years, and that's the sort of person he actually is. A jovial person, always making fun, talking a lot. I guess as captain, being focused on the game, he couldn't do it as much. But now he's free, probably just trying to play as good as he can and be as free as he can.
So you think that's going to make him better?
Well, I can't say it, but it would. For me, if you're enjoying cricket more and you have less to worry about, I mean, it should make you better. You focus more on yourself. Not saying you not look at the team, but being the skipper, you take care of everybody. So obviously, no responsibilities for him, but just to perform, I think it should make him better.
So you've said that you think you can play all three formats of the game, and of course I agree with you. Probably should have been playing all three of them some time ago, but anyhow, that's a whole different conversation now. But I think you're so good. What's going to happen when the IPL starts calling and the Sri Lanka Premier League starts calling and the Big Bash starts calling, and then you're going to get a call from the Bangladesh Premier League as well? What's going to happen?
Obviously, those are leagues I look forward to play. Any young cricketer coming up now, would love to play those leagues. But I have to strike a balance. Obviously, I don't know what the future holds. Hopefully, in some time, maybe I get a West Indies contract, and then the coaches, the CEO, the board, the cricket director, whoever's in charge. But then let me know how many of the leagues I can go, et cetera, and try to and balance it out. I don't want to take away from West Indies cricket, who I've started my career. I have to pay special attention to that and I don't get carried away. But at the end of the day, opportunities to make money, and I just hope that going forward everything can be worked out and move on smoothly.
Yeah. So you do not have a West Indies retainer contract right now. If you are offered one in the next window, will you be taking it?
Of course. Why would I not take it? I mean, it's a step up from the original contract. So, yeah, for sure. And I joined that I'm making strides as well. So
you don't think it will limit you in any way in terms of your movement, given the obvious talent that you have?
Well, I can't say. I mean, there's guys on contracts now playing the same tournament. So I can't say right now. I don't know what the contract has in it. I don't know what is in plans for the guys moving forward in terms of playing leagues, or the case may be. But at the end of the day, this is where I am now. I can't sit down and wait on outside contract when I'm being offered a contract at home.
All right, sounds really good. Kyle Mayers, the Barbadian, recently into the West Indies side, that majestic 210 against Bangladesh in his debut test match, leading West Indies to victory. And then, of course, more creditable performances in the home series against Sri Lanka. Quickly on your bowling. So I thought you looked really good bowling in the Sri Lanka series. Actually, there were a couple times where I felt you should have gotten the ball when you didn't. And when you did, you troubled the batsmen. How do you see your bowling now that you've become this big shot batsman?
To be honest, the bowling had dropped off a bit. Obviously from lack of preparation, not being able to bowl as much, breaking my left ankle, which is the ankle. It was difficult to bowl the same amount of time, however the case may be. But now my ankle is healed well, and I'm not feeling it as much. Bowling more in the net with Mr. Esprit, the bowling coach. So I see myself grabbing any other opportunity possible with the ball. I thought I could skipper manage it well. We played 5 bowlers alongside myself. So obviously it would have been hard for me to get in. I know at some point where nothing was happening, I made stuff happen, but I did from a skipper point of view. I thought that he handled it well. Obviously I batted at 4 as well, so he was always telling me, I don't want you to bowl too much. I want you to focus because you have to bat 4. Yeah. So probably that was the case with the skipper not giving me ball, but I still feel good bowling. As I said, I was a bowler all-rounder before. I have a few skills, and I'm fairly accurate. So it is waiting for the opportunity to come, and I will take it.
Do you think you have what it takes to be a genuine all-rounder at the highest level? And how would that fit into a West Indies Test squad with the current world #1 all-rounder?
Of course, I believe that I have it in me to do it. I mean, just have to become fitter. Because, I just started Test cricket, and people think watching it on TV is very easy. It's very hard. It's very, very hard. And I will always say that, and I will always let young people coming up know that if you want to play Test cricket, you need to work very hard. The time you spend in the field, and then you have to go and bat right afterwards sometimes. Your legs tired. It's very, very much mental as well. So preparation is key. And I think for me to be up there with Jason, it would take some hard work, but I believe I can do it for sure. And having #1 and maybe #2 in the world can't be so bad. So sharing the dressing room with the world's best all-rounders, because you should be happy.
Yeah, Jason Holder, you better watch out, man.
Who's your role model, Kyle, or who do you model your game off?
To be honest, I don't really model my game off anyone. I just try to be me. To be honest.
Is there any cricket of the past that you really looked up to?
Yeah, when it was coming up, I used to look up to Dwayne Smith. Probably that's why I started hitting sixes from a young age. I was hitting sixes from a young age, from on 30 coming up.
Maybe that's why everybody wanted you so far down the order.
Yeah, no problem.
I hope Dwayne Smith doesn't hear that, by the way. And by the way, like as he said, he looked up to Dwayne Smith. Remember Dwayne Smith in his debut test, getting 100 in South Africa? There was a majestic 100 to save a test match for the West Indies.
He was chasing the victory target. He was. In my mind, he was chasing it.
I don't think he knew any other way. But that was a majestic knot. I was still in high school at the time, and I think I stayed home, not going to school. I did that so often when I was young.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't say that out loud.
It's obvious though, everyone was a conversation with you.
Okay, all right, thanks Donald, appreciate that. Kyle, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you for the last 40 minutes, and we wish you all the very best going forward. I gather that we're likely to play South Africa and Australia at some point this year. Any thoughts on those two opponents as you prepare for the next step on a wonderful start to your international cricketing journey?
I don't really look at the opposition. I'm just thinking about the stuff that I did well and stuff that I can work on from the last season. So hopefully things clear up nicely in Barbados, and we get a chance to go back and train so I can work on the stuff I need to work on to prepare myself for the next series.
No, hold on a second. Kyle, I'm very sorry. You look at the squads from South Africa and you see a big name bowler or whatever, and you don't tell yourself that I cannot wait to face him?
Well, yeah, of course I look forward to any challenge, and I think that's the way I look at it all the time. If you're the big bowler inside, I won't be able to take you down. That's the kind of mindset I have.
Okay.
I don't really play names. I just play bat and ball, to be honest. So when the time come for us to look at footage and look at different bowlers and stuff in the meetings, then I do that. But instead of that, just focus on me for now.
Yeah. All right. We look forward to it, Kyle. Really look forward to seeing you play cricket again. And it really doesn't matter the format, one-day international cricket, T20 cricket, or Test cricket. It's been a pleasure watching you over the last, I should say, like 5 or 6 months, because for me it dates back to that New Zealand T20 series. And it was a pleasure having you on the Commentators Podcast. Really was a great chat. And we continue to track your progress. All right, Kyle Mayers there. I'll say it again. I've already said it, but yeah,
you're a fan?
He's the newest Test sensation. I'm a big fan, actually. I'm a big fan.
And this conversation was really good because I get an insight into his mentality, which obviously, based on how he speaks, I can understand why he's had such a successful start.
I didn't have to speak with him to know that that is the type of mentality he has, because that's exactly how he approaches his cricket. It's definitely how he approaches his batting. And as I said at the top of this conversation, it is the first thing that struck me about him, how positive he was, how assured he was, knowing exactly what he wanted to do.
But usually when batsmen say that they are assured or positive, sometimes you wonder if there is anything behind that, or it's just a phrase that they say.
That they repeat.
But when he says that he's a student of the game and then he explains why, that really stood out, because I'm not sure. I mean, I need to do more interviews with the West Indies players, of course, but I'm not sure if many players around the Caribbean not only have that mindset but are able to articulate what they really do.
Okay, well, I don't really want to put pressure on anyone, but I'm going to speak about John Campbell, for example.
Yeah, please don't put any pressure on him.
I think John Campbell is the complete opposite of what Kyle Mayers is right now, because I think John Campbell is constantly caught in two minds. So I think naturally, like Kyle Mayers, John Campbell is an aggressive player. He likes to get on top of the bowling. But I also believe in watching him that he's not sure if that's what he should be doing at this level. And I think he's having a difficulty, whereas Kyle has worked out. So Kyle has heard the rhetoric that you need to bat longer, right? But he hasn't taken that to mean that I should lose my aggressive style.
Right.
I think John Campbell has not worked out exactly what that means yet.
And Jermaine Blackwood?
How to approach batting longer. Jermaine Blackwood is a case unto himself.
No, we're talking about three batsmen with a similar mindset?
Yeah, except though, here's the thing. I think technically, Kyle Mayers is better than...
Both of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that makes a massive difference. In even though Kyle Mayers is an aggressive player, I don't often get the impression that his aggressive shots are going to get him out. And yes, of course, every batsman is going to get out, whether you play defensively or aggressively. But I like his stance that you have to get on top of the bowler. You have to allow the bowler to understand that if you miss your length, if you miss your line, you are going to be punished. That's how pressure is put on the bowler, you know.
Yeah.
Part of the issue I've had with the West Indies Test setup and the batting lineup is that we've not had any batsman who can put pressure on the bowlers. So you start with Craig Brathwaite.
A star.
Yeah. Well, that's a different thing.
Okay.
So you would start with Craig Brathwaite and Kyron Powell at the top, right? This is before John Campbell came in. And guess what? You would bowl 10 overs and you would be 7 without loss. Even though you're 7 without loss after 10 overs, though, the pressure is on you.
Still.
Because the bowling side does not feel that they have lost any ground to you, and they don't feel that you're going to attack them, and so they can comfortably set into a rhythm, and they are at you. Now, if you bat 100 balls and you're 25 without loss, when you get out at 25 for 1, the bowler is still on top. What Kyle Mayers is able to do is that by the time he plays that shot that gets the outside edge, he's already on 50. All the pressure is already on you. That's what he does so well. It's the very thing that Brian Lara did so well. It's what Viv Richards did so well. They put pressure on the bowlers. It's what Virat Kohli does so well. And then now with a Kyle Mayers, he has the technical ability, having put the pressure on the bowler, to then settle in and play a longer innings. And that's the part I think he will get even better at and start producing even bigger innings over time. Not that 210 wasn't big. I mean, that was pretty big. But yeah, with more consistency, because I think he has the ability to do that.
So another 6 years of Kyle Mayers at least?
6? I'm hoping for 10.
Well, I didn't say at least, but okay.
Yeah. It's been a longer version of the Commentators Podcast, but it has been another version of the Commentators Podcast. Quickly, you're 50% vaccinated, aren't you?
Yes, I am actually.
What was that like?
I didn't feel a thing.
I realized, because you didn't cry like a little baby like you would normally do.
Oh my goodness. When what,
I was
Ricardo?
rather impressed.
When I normally do what, Ricardo?
When you walk.
No, the nurse was very kind, and she was very forthright and firm, and
How do you feel though? Because there are so many people apprehensive about taking the vaccine. But you look fine, and you don't look as if you're in any pain.
Yeah,
are there any side effects at all?
I have my ginger beer with me because I was feeling a little bit nauseous this morning, but I'm fine.
And you don't feel fluey?
No, none at all.
And you're not sore?
I'm not sore either.
I've had friends who have taken the vaccine told me that
but then
they
again,
felt soreness.
Then again, I was prepared. I took a multi-symptom Panadol before.
Yes.
Took 2 normal Panadols right after.
Yes.
Went home, took a vitamin D, vitamin C, as well as some heart supplements, and I'm good.
You know that you can OD, right?
Yeah, I heard, but it's not like I'm high as a kite, Ricardo.
Yeah, it's not like you're high. I mean, you're just your normal Donald self. Wow.
Exactly.
All right, well, I'm happy that you took the vaccine.
You should take yours soon.
I'm happy that you are. Yes, I'm actually going to take mine. The reason I did not take mine is because I wanted to see how you guys reacted to it.
Yeah.
Because,
and,
no,
and based
hold
on the
on,
fact that I didn't die.
No, hold on, no, it's not because of that.
What?
It's just that I could not allow a situation where if anything happened and you couldn't come to work, then there would be no one to come to work. So I had to save myself.
Right.
So I would be in a position to work and cover for all the people.
But you do know that even if I'm missing, it triples the entire sports match, so it really wouldn't have mattered.
That's it for another edition of the Commentators Podcast. I'm Ricardo Chambers, and it was great working with Donald Oliver. It was even better having a chat with Kyle Mayers today, and we'll be back with another episode coming soon, and we're going to have another special talent. That one is going to be even younger.
Right in there as well. What a terrific race this is.
Huntington with the miss. The feet scored goal!
This is their house. This is their stage. It's a stage they have dominated in recent years.